Hello and welcome everyone. I'm your host Stefan Burns, geologist, geophysicist, space weather guy, cosmic bro, here to help you understand what is happening on our planet. And well, the big news today, January 12th, is that we have the 40th eruptive episode at Kilauea Volcano, which has been erupting now since December of 2024. So it's been very, very active. And well, as you see with these lava plumes here, these are pretty big. It was quite a bit higher actually at the beginning of the eruptive cycle, where there's a big burst of pressure, really shot it up, and now it's just in this steady flow where you have a lot of lava coming up. And we had a bit of a tease that this was going to occur over the past few days because we've had this kind of billowing out of lava from a couple different vents and a whole bunch of flow going down during that time frame. But it didn't do the final eruptive phase until now. If you're wondering why this video here is kind of cutting in and out, it's because the live feed from the USGS is having some lag issues. Sometimes that occurs. So big eruptive episode though, number 40. You'll see right above me here, the smoke plume rising up, the wide view of this eruptive episode. And right now, this is classified as an extreme thermal anomaly event. So we have different ways of categorizing volcanic eruptions, and effectively satellite imagery can look at the heat signature of something like this. And if it's significant enough, well, then it can be, it'll reach very high or even extreme levels, which is where we are right now. So Kilauea is one of the few volcanoes that consistently hits an extreme thermal anomaly, but the past few eruptive episodes, it has not done so. This time it has. There's been a lot of lava pouring out of Kilauea with this episode. And this one is different than the others. So we're going to talk about that because these eruptive episodes, it's not like this happens every 2 weeks, for every month of every year for the past 50 years. Sometimes there's big lags, and then sometimes it's just like one big event. And this time is a little, maybe not unusual. It's happened before, but it is special in the fact that we've had 40 of these eruptive episodes back to back to back. That is not the most common scenario. And we don't know when they're going to end. We could have this happen for another 5 years. We could have this be the last one. We don't know. But in order to understand where things are going with Kilauea Volcano, then in the Big Island in general, then we need to really look at all the different factors. And so we had a big clue back in November when there was a 4.6 magnitude earthquake that struck Volcanoes National Park, and that seems to have changed things. So let me show you the Morova data. We're going to look at some of this stuff too, but here we can see that this is our satellite thermal anomaly data, and this is the Middle Infrared Observatory observations of volcanic activity. I'll link this in the video description after the live stream is done. If you want to check this out, you can basically go to the homepage and see all the different volcanoes, or here's the list of all the volcanoes. You see that when it's purple, it's at extreme. So we have an extreme thermal anomaly right now at Kilauea Volcano. And here is the longer term view of the past year. So we see just going back to December, and here was the 39th eruptive episode right here, where it reached very high, almost extreme levels. Then things died down. When the chamber is refilling, the magma chamber, there's really no thermal anomaly. And then you can see that we burst up, and we actually were at high and very high levels when it was having this kind of outpouring, but it wasn't fountaining. And now we've spiked up to extreme levels. Last time we were at levels like this was back with episode 37. And then the episodes before that in general were pretty high, though you see that not all of them reach extreme. We have a whole bunch of episodes that were not at extreme levels. So this is one of the stronger eruptive episodes, at least in terms of the thermal anomaly. So that is very interesting. We can look at our monitoring data here for the USGS to see what's been happening. They measure the tilt on the caldera. And so when the tilt is changing, you get this increase here. The tilt angle will increase like this. And then what happens when it starts to discharge, you get to go straight down. And this is the past month of data right here. We'll look at the past 3 months right here. And you can see something very interesting with this data. Here we go. So for the past 3 months, we've been having quite a few episodes. This is episode 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, and then 35 over there. You'll notice that we had these shorter episodes here where the tilt was higher and we weren't getting as much of a discharge back just about in November and early December. And then early December with episode 39, we had a huge discharge. Pretty sure that's the one that knocked out the camera because it was this massive fire bow that went out. So really incredible stuff. Then this is episode 39. It was fairly standard, but also more of a discharge, at least what we've seen the past 3 months. And now episode 40. Well, if you look here closely, right here, we see a big spike there. We also see one right there. Every now and then, these tilt sensors will actually register when there is an earthquake, either for the Big Island or could be, a different island nearby. But Big Island gets almost all the earthquakes for the Hawaiian island chain. Or, for example, back when we had the magnitude 8.8 megaquake, that was so powerful, even though it was in Kamchatka, that it picked up on the tilt sensor at Hawaii. Well, you'll notice that we have that spike right there. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right there. As that finished discharging, we immediately had an earthquake. What was that earthquake? It was a magnitude 4.4 that struck Volcanoes National Park. So here we see it, and that was on the 26th of November. And effectively what happens, you had episode, I believe it's 37, you had episode 37, and then right as it finished and the fountains went away, boom, earthquake hit. Residents nearby, some people that were there, that were watching it, felt that. The lineup in time is crazy. It's like 10 minutes apart. So you're watching it, it finishes, and all of a sudden you feel the ground shake underneath your feet, right? And then after that earthquake, we started seeing changes to the eruptive episodes at Kilauea. The official communication from USGS is that the earthquake and the eruptive episodes at Kilauea are not related to each other at all. That they're completely unrelated. And I was talking to someone about this. They were saying that they probably say that because they don't want people to worry. But here's the thing. If you're going to lie about that, for a white lie or black, whatever you want to call it, if you're going to lie about that, which is just like, this is just basic geologic stuff. You have an earthquake happen, the biggest earthquake, right? We see it here on our map, largest earthquakes going all the way back to November. I have this set for November 20th. This is the largest one. Time frame. You have the largest earthquake of that entire time frame happen the moment the eruptive episode ends, like literally within 10 minutes, and they're not connected, and it's in the same location, right? It's right here in Volcanoes National Park. Then you're not doing anyone a favor. And if you're willing to lie about that, then what else are you willing to lie about? Because that's not a big thing. Like, that's just what it is, and that's not anything really to freak people out about. It's just what volcanoes do. Right? We're here to understand what's actually happening. Back in 2022, people lost their homes when we had big volcanic eruptions. Mauna Loa erupted in 2022 and people lost their homes. I talked to some of those people. The lava flows were pretty insane. You can see some of them on satellite imagery, or if you go there yourself. People want to know what's actually happening. So it doesn't help anybody to say, oh, they're not related, when they actually are related. And then if we go back to our monitoring data here, we see that there was a significant change that occurred after that earthquake, and now we're getting bigger discharges. This eruptive episode 2 was different because it was so long in its buildup. This one was fairly long, but it was steady and even. This one was very long because it just started to peter off, and then it finally started to discharge. So it really seems that something changed with the end of eruptive episode 37 and that magnitude 4.4 earthquake. And this is one of the largest volcanic systems on Earth, and so we have to pay attention to it. And it's just the right thing to do. We can, watch what's been happening. It's really cool to see. I was there in August. It's really cool to see the volcano erupt. And if it, like episode 38, I believe, was powerful enough that people actually even felt the heat. They're on the rim. There is always a risk if you go to a place like this because there could be an earthquake and there could be, a landslide or something from the caldera rim. Like, so there's not no risk. But it is pretty awesome that we have a national park and we have these eruptive episodes that in general have been safe to view and to witness, like the raw power of Mother Earth. But just because we have her temporarily tamed, let's say, does not mean that she's actually tamed. And so when we get signs that, hey, like things are changing, then we should pay attention to that and not just say, oh, well, the earthquake and the volcanic eruption are totally unrelated. Don't worry about it. Solar activity and earthquakes are totally unrelated. Don't think about that. Don't think too much, actually. Just pay your taxes, right? So we have quite a lot happening. We've had a lot of solar activity on the sun. Let me show you that. Because this is also quite important as it relates to all these geophysical dynamics. Kilauea, by the way, likes to erupt during or like right after geomagnetic storms. They seem to be good triggers for her. She already has kind of her repetitious sequence, but I've noticed that quite a lot. And if you can go back through the record, you can look at geostorms, line them up with eruptive episodes, and they're pretty tight correlation there. So it's interesting. Not every time, but often when there is a geostorm, Kilauea will go. And we just got out of a G2 geomagnetic storm. So there's a big G2 storm, and then it re-strengthened to G1 levels after cooling off for a bit. So that was quite interesting. Here we see our coronagraph, our differential view for the past 24 hours. You'll see a big coronal mass ejection there at the beginning, launching off to the east solar coordinate system. Here is our newest coronal mass ejection launching from the top. That is not Earth directed. That appears to be a filament that launched from the far side, though I can't say that definitively. It could have also been a solar flare with a coronal mass ejection, but there's nothing on the Earth-facing imagery that I saw that explains that. But we have a big sunspot group now rotating towards Earth-facing view, and it'll be exactly Earth-facing right around the new moon. 18th, 19th of December. Maybe it's exactly Earth facing around the 20th, but right around that time frame. So we have Mercury superior conjunction. Mercury will be in the opposite side of the sun, exactly in line with the Earth. We often see that correlated with significant solar activity, or at least heightened solar activity. We have the new moon. So the moon is going to be directly in line with Mercury, the sun, and the Earth. And we'll have a big sunspot also in that alignment. And nearby, we'll have Venus and Mars and Jupiter right behind us. So a lot of activity happening with our nearby solar system environment. And that influences all these geophysical things and events that occur here on Earth. Earthquakes, volcanoes, weather, and more. Sometimes the connections aren't super obvious, right? It's a very complex multi-layered system that's all interconnected. So it's not so easy as, A equals B equals C, but you track this across time and you will start to notice like, oh, that's interesting how we had a giant solar flare the exact same time there was a magnitude 7 earthquake that hit the Yukon. That's back in November. It was to the minute when those light photons hit, that magnitude 7 earthquake ruptured. We see things like that. Solar flares and earthquakes being connected in time, geomagnetic storms and volcanic eruptions, for example, at Kilauea being temporally connected in time, and more. So quite a lot of activity happening right now around the globe. We have this incredible planetary alignment that is active. That is starting to wane now, but it's really active effectively all the way till the middle to end of January. Honestly, this is a long planetary alignment. And then right after that, we go straight into a Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And then we have more following up beyond that. So because then eventually Mercury, Mars, and Venus will all catch up to Saturn and Neptune. And we'll have a congregation of planets there along with the sun. So there's going to be a ton of activity going all the way through January, February, and March. But I think we really have some significant solar activity headed our way in about a week's time, because we've had two big explosions from that sunspot group, which is now rotating into view. We'll probably have imagery of that tomorrow, very initial imagery. I won't have a video for you tomorrow, but I'll probably be back on the 14th or the 15th. I'm currently traveling right now. I'm doing this live stream from a hotel room. So that is your update for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been your host, Stefan Burns. I'm going to keep the live stream up a little bit longer for you guys so you can watch the lava fountaining, and then I'll sign off. But please subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with what is happening with the Earth. I release videos almost daily. We look at geophysical things here. We look at solar activity, space weather, planetary resonances and alignments. That planetary alignment coming up with Mercury and the moon and Earth, the sun, all that, that's also incorporating Pluto and also 3i Atlas. So Pluto will be on the other side of the sun where Mercury is, effectively in that alignment, and 3i Atlas will be on the Earth-Jupiter side. So there's a lot to this. It's going to be really exciting. So I recommend that you do what you need to stay grounded and calm, cool, relax, whether that means disconnecting, unplugging from the internet for a while, making sure that you just really focus on eating good food, not drinking things you don't need to drink, whether it's coffee or alcohol or whatever, moving your body, walking, getting fresh air, pumping the lungs, earthing and grounding itself, connecting directly to the earth. All these things are super good for you. They're going to be, they're good wellness habits to get into place already, day by day, but they're definitely super useful to be extra mindful of when we get a big burst of activity from the sun, because then that is the larger overall energy engine for our solar system. So whether those explosions are far side or earth side, like in general, it's just increasing the amount of energy flux within our solar system. A lot of people respond to that. And if you don't immediately feel it, you just may not have built a super conscious connection to it yet. So the more you pay attention to stuff, maybe do some journaling, logging, the more you'll build these connections and be like, oh, that's why I felt that way when that occurred. Perhaps some people are more, not numb, but just not as sensitive to this as others. But regardless, when the sun's going crazy, the entire solar system is experiencing more energy flux. This also means changes with the other planets, so we have very limited ability to track that because, well, we have a whole bunch of scientific instruments here, but not really on the other planets in really significant ways. So it's a solar system-wide effect. And then you add in an interstellar object like 3i Atlas. We don't get them that often. It's still fairly close to all of us in the asteroid belt. Well, expect the unexpected. So that is the take-home message. I'm wishing each and every single one of you well. Please take care of yourselves. I'll see you all in the next video. Enjoy the rest of the fountaining at Kilauea.
Oh yeah, when the sun starts cracking and the ground starts shaking, you know what time it is. Boom shakalaka, it's about to go down. Solar flare, fire lighting up the whole town. Boom shakalaka, the earth starts to quake. Predictions on point, watch the whole world shake. Magnetic fields are twisted, charged particles in the sky. He called it on the live stream, now the flares are riding high. Seismic waves are rumbling, plates moving underground. Stefan drops the forecast, and boom, the proof is found. Boom, shakalaka, it's about to go down. Solar flare, fire lighting up the whole town. Boom, shakalaka, the earth starts to quake. Predictions on point, watch the whole world shake. Aurora start dancing, red, green, purple light. From space to the phone lines, he's calling it right. starts to roar. Stefan hit the target like he's done it all before. From the sun to the stars, from the quake to the flood, every boom shakalaka hits harder than a thought. Boom shakalaka, it's about to go down. Solar flare, fire lighting up the whole town. Boom shakalaka, the earth starts to quake. Fiction's